Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have two articles for you in this episode. We just finished up an episode there about old songbird Tokyo Johnny McCain. Now we're going to hit on old Numbskull Nancy Pelosi. This first one is off of Liberty Writers. These URLs are in the description of the video, of course, for your perusal. This one says, watch Nancy Pelosi lose her mind on live TV. She should be fired for this. And there's video in this if you want to see what she does for yourself. But I'll read this article. It says, Nancy Pelosi is allegedly an idiot. Well, now I'm just reading the article. If you ask me, there's no allegedly in there, but that's what the article says. On Tuesday, the New York Times circulated a fake news piece that reported a tweet from a fake Twitter account that was claiming to be Michael Flynn. Below is a screenshot of the tweets that were sent out by the fake Twitter. It says, it's Michael Flynn listed as the sender. It says, but if a scapegoat is what's needed for this administration to continue to take this great nation forward, I'm proud to do my duty. While I accept full responsibility for my actions, I feel it's unfair that I have been made the sole scapegoat for what happened. And then Nancy Pelosi fell for this hook, line, and sinker. And she was quoted at a press conference. And I'm going to play you the audio of this for educational purposes. So listen. We're waiting for the hamster to catch up here.
I'll say this. I didn't know until I heard from our colleague that the tweet of General Flynn today was scapegoat. Scapegoat. You know what a scapegoat is? That means in a community where people want to absolve themselves of guilt, they get a goat and they heap all of the ills onto the goat, and then they run the goat out of town. So the inference to be drawn from his statement is that other people had blame that should be shared in all of this. The good news is that General Flynn is gone.
Okay. She is a joke. She should not be a politician anymore. Man, oh man, I can't make this stuff up. What in the world? I don't know. It's so easy to make these people look like fools. All you have to do is dummy up an account and put something on there that they can grab and run with it, and they're going to get on TV and everything else, or make up a name, call them up, and fake some kind of a foreign accent, tell them you're some kind of a leader or some made-up, tell you all the nation's secrets. For crying out loud. What is wrong with these people? Oh, the next one here is off of DC Clothesline, and it says, how does Nancy Pelosi commute from California since the Air Force took back her jet? With all the shit and shinola liberals in Congress have been pulling off over the years, and especially now after November the 8th of 2016, I thought taxpayers would like to know something about U.S. Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi's travel plans the U.S. taxpayers paid for. Just like most Democrats, everything for nothing, isn't it, do them? According to the Judicial Watch press release dated July the 21st of 2011, we find just how luxuriously then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, family and friends traveled on taxpayers' dime until the U.S. Air Force took away her use of their aircraft. The records were obtained via Freedom of Information Act. And it says, overall, according to Let's try this again. Overall, according to documents uncovered by Judicial Watch in January 2011, Pelosi used the Air Force aircraft for a total of 43 trips covering 90,155 miles from January 1st through October the 1st of 2010. Judicial Watch, through the Freedom of Information Act, continues to pursue other records related to Pelosi's use of Air Force aircraft. Previous documents obtained by Judicial Watch show the former speaker's military travel cost the U.S. Air Force 2,100, or no, let's try that figure again. Good Lord, 2,100,000 $744.59 over one 2-year period. $101,429.14 of which was for in-flight expenses, including food and alcohol. For example, purchases for one Pelosi-led congressional delegation traveling from Washington, D.C. through Tel Aviv, Israel, to Baghdad, Iraq, May the 15th through the 20th of 2008 included Scotch, Grey Goose vodka, E&J brandy, Bailey's Irish cream, and I'm going to guess this is pronounced Covisay Cognac, Bacardi Light Rum, Jim Beam Whiskey, Beefeater Gin, Brewer's Scotch, Bombay Sapphire Gin, Jack Daniel's Whiskey, Corona Beer, and several bottles of wine. I didn't see Mad Dog 2020 on there one time. Or Boone's Farm. I digress. Judicial Watch also previously uncovered internal Department of Defense, DoD, documents, email correspondence detailing attempts by DoD staff to accommodate Pelosi's numerous requests for military escorts and military aircraft, as well as Speaker last-minute cancellations and changes. For example, in response to a series of requests for military aircraft, one DoD official wrote, "Any chance of politely querying Pelosi's team if they really intend to do all of these, or are they just picking every weekend? There's no need to block every weekend just in case." The email also notes that Pelosi's office had a history of canceling many of their past requests. Also uncovered emails from the DoD that show the Pentagon worked hand in hand with congressional offices prior to releasing documents regarding congressional military travel under the Freedom of Information Act. These heads-up emails involved Freedom of Information Act requests filed by Judicial Watch, the Wall Street Journal, Congressional Quarterly, and Roll Call, among other organizations, related to the use of military aircraft by a number of congressional members, including Pelosi. Following numerous press reports documenting Pelosi's misuse of military aircraft, current House Speaker John Boehner announced that he would fly commercial between his home district and Washington, D.C. Nevertheless, Judicial Watch has initiated a separate investigation into travel since Republicans took control of the House. These documents further detail former Speaker Pelosi's shameless abuse of military aircraft during her tenure as House Speaker. Providing sweetheart travel deals for her adult children are an abuse of her high public office, said Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. But this scandal is much larger than Speaker Pelosi, as the massive Detroit Auto Show junket shows. Members of the House are able to obtain permission from the office of the Speaker for use of the military luxury and military supported travel for congressional delegation trips. These trips are known as coddles and have exploded in number and in cost. Speaker Boehner needs to reform this abuse of our military's assets. For all the recent talk about corporate luxury jets, American people might be surprised to learn the Air Force has an entire wing of luxury jets in addition to President Obama's Air Force One planes for use in congressmen and top administration officials. Now, I'm going to stop right there because I realize that Boehner's not in there anymore. This is an old article, but still, I mean, the article's not old, just this information in the article is old. The article is dated February the 19th, so, you know, it's just yesterday's article. But the fact still remains that she's wasted all this money flying all over the world with all this luxurious stuff, while the American people are out here beating themselves to death trying to find jobs, trying to make enough money to pay our utility bills, and can't afford luxuries. They can't afford to give the veterans health care. They can't afford to give Social Security a raise. They can't afford to do anything for the American people out of to keep their hind ends in office. But they can fly around the world and treat their children to all this luxurious stuff. And we can't afford to get our kids a video game for Christmas. Are you kidding me? Now, back to the article. That apparently is the liberal left's agenda. Keep the real news from the taxpayers and others. Gush the fake news. Does President Trump have that one correct to control the media? Remember Pelosi's infamous, but we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what's in it away from the fog of the controversy regarding the Obama administration's signature health care bill that screwed everybody all to hell, otherwise known as Obamacare. It's been driven the price of health care premiums up by an average of 24% for 2017, while some in Phoenix in 2016 faced premium increase of 145%. Remember, that was a few years back when Obama was president. However, current remarks President Trump makes about Washington, D.C.'s swamp critters aren't being taken very kindly or in proper context by the Democrats. And newly formed Purple Revolution, fashioned by Clinton's and George Soros, MoveOn.org, to precipitate a color revolution in the USA against Trump administration, as Soros and his Open Foundation Society successfully carried out in other countries, such as Arab Spring and other color revolutions around the globe. Are you aware of that? A purple revolution in the USA. Purple no longer is my favorite color. Personally, I will never fathom how Congress critters bought into Pelosi's "we have to pass the bill" BS without reading it in the first place. Doesn't that say something about President Trump's assessment of Washington, D.C. critters? Where's any sense of their legal ethics? Pass the bill without reading it. Abuse of assets. When will this left-wing political party agenda come to or be brought to some sense of proportional reality? Accountability from and by all who were involved in both terms of the Obama administration, as there is much to be uncovered there and to be marched about, and even to be greatly protested in Obama's numerous presidential executive orders. If only those who care so very much about their rights now that Trump is president would take the time to read what rights Obama took away from we the people, many of whom live off the federal government's largeness. That's all I have for you in this episode. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up. Share it on social media so everybody gets to hear the news. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. That way you'll stay informed. I'll see you in the next episode.